As we begin today's program, I would like to start off with a little bit of breaking news. Today, Donald Trump announced that when he takes office on January 5th, his first article of business will be to fire that douchebag Chris Greer. I think, no matter what side we're on, we can all get behind that one. Let's get into this Rams game. Dolphins fans, what's happening? Don't take offense to the joke. In the beginning, it was just a joke. Even though, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that would be pretty cool if he would fire Chris Greer for us. Because, let's be real. Regardless of what happens, like I said before, whatever happens this season, he still needs to go. He has got to go. We got to fire Chris Greer. So, I'm not really going to suggest anything else with the front office and coaching right now. My one thing that I think would help is getting rid of Chris Greer, and I do want to say that I am serious about that. But anyway, welcome to the program. Today we got to talk about the Monday Night Football game against the Rams that we have coming up, and this is the beginning of the second half of the season. Now, I thought about doing a first half of the season review and grading out our team and all this, and I'm just, guys, I don't have the heart to go back and look at the beginning of this season. I don't want to relive it. I want to move on from it. So that's what I'm doing. We know our record. We know that we're 2-6, and that's not good, right? My kid is screaming, laughing in the background. I don't know what's going on. She's either dying or getting tickled to death. Either way. Oh. Anyway, moving on. I said that this is a big game, and I'm going to get into some reasons why, and then we'll get into the game. But first, I wanted to cover one small thing. Some information came up to me today, and these are rankings from PFF. And I know PFF is not the biggest thing in the world, but I do like PFF for the stats. Number one, the stats are good, and seeing the stats of all our players, that's helpful, and the ranking of not necessarily players but teams by the stats. I think that shows where we're at in the NFL, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to pop this little stat up over here, and then we can look at this thing right here. So take a look at this stat. This is from PFF, but these stats are actually, these are viable stats that you can look at, and you can assess how our team is doing. This is our offensive line, and I got to be honest, guys, this is pretty impressive. And like I said, now I started this off with we need to fire Chris Greer, and I do mean that. I still think he needs to go. However, this is our offensive line stats for the year so far, for how all the games together. We have an 89.8 pass blocking efficiency. That is second in the NFL. You can't even really ask for much better than that. We have allowed 9 sacks this season, which is tied for 5th. We have 12 QB hits allowed, which is tied for 9th. 30 hurries allowed, which is 1st. And 51 pressures total allowed, and that's 1st as well. Now, if you look at the rankings of our linemen individually, I don't have those numbers right in front of me, but if you looked at those, you would see that our offensive line is playing very well, especially these last 3 or 4 weeks. Individual rankings for the offensive line wasn't great in the beginning of the season. It was kind of these 4 did good, and then this player did bad. And then the next week it was one of the other 5 players that did bad, and everybody else had a good week. But as a team and as an offensive unit, the offensive line, 5 players, they're doing great. So, like I said, I've always said that I'm going to pick apart and I'm going to examine and talk about things that I don't think are going well. But I'm also going to offer up flowers when they're deserved. And clearly, our offensive line is deserving of flowers here, guys and girls. And I want you guys to recognize this stat. Let's get that out of there. Gone. And I think that knowing that's those stats and seeing that those are real stats, not made up, not fabricated. I think we can all give flowers to the offensive line. Now, I am not going to give flowers to Chris Greer for that. I think this is a matter of our offensive linemen looking at it and saying, man, we can't be bad anymore. We have got to do something different. And they've made a commitment, and they've worked together, and they've grown together as a group and as a unit, and they're playing well. And all I can hope for the offensive line is that they continue. Now, aside from Teron Armstead getting hurt with that concussion and missing 1 week of football, none of them have missed a game. Our offensive line has been perfectly healthy, and knocking on wood there, I don't want to curse our offensive linemen, but dang, that's an impressive stat, especially for how things have been going for us as a team and how our offensive line has been in particular for the last, forever. So, kudos to the offensive line. You guys are playing great. Please keep that up. And I think part of the reason they're playing so well together is because they have a fantastic group of running backs running behind them. And I know that when I played tight end in college, but I was an offensive lineman in high school and Pee Wee football, and I know that when you got somebody who can run the ball behind you, it is so much fun to be a lineman. Oh my goodness, it's great. So much fun to spring somebody for a big gain. There's nothing more satisfying. I would take springing a running back for a big gain. I was a center in high school, and I would take springing a running back for a big gain up the middle every time over a pancake. A pancake wasn't even on my thought process list. It was always get this guy into the secondary and watch him go. Just stand there and cheer and jog down to the end zone. That was my favorite thing. So when you have running backs like Devon Achane and Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert, I mean, what a fun job that would be to be a lineman for them. Anyway, moving on. Let's get to talking about this season and here and why why we're into the second half of the season and why it's so important that we win games. Like I said, I am encouraged with the way we played the Buffalo Bills. I think that there's a steady state of improvement going on right now, and I'd like that to continue. And I feel like if that continues into this week, it will result in a win. And I think that it will result in more wins if we continue beyond this Monday night coming up with the improving thing and getting better. Not just saying it, but actually doing it. We have another thing I'm going to pop up here. I want that up there so you guys can see that. This is the AFC standings as of right now, before the Thursday night game tomorrow. And this is why this is important. Look where we're at. Okay? We're at 12th. Now, is that a big deal because the teams that below us are above us? No. What makes this a big deal is we don't want to get any lower on this list. The teams that are below us are 2-7. Now, Tennessee and Miami are both 2-6, and it makes me mad that we lost that game to Tennessee again. Every year it seems like we lose to that freaking team. Anyway, shake it off. So anyway, we're at 2-6. We have 9 games left. This is the second half of the season. We are 5 teams out of a playoff spot. That last wild card spot, number 7. Now you have to figure, obviously the first four spots are division winners, and I don't see us taking the Bills out of the division lead unless they have a massive collapse and we have one heck of a run. And like I said, it's anything's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying it's improbable. So those 3 wild card spots: Baltimore, Chargers, and Denver. 5, 6, and 7. This is not out of the realm of possibility. Those teams carry 6-3 records and a 5-3 record. And we were 2-6. The team that is one spot out of the playoff spot is 4-5. That's the Colts. This isn't out of reach. In fact, a lot of these teams are going to lose some games coming up here. And if you go look at the NFL schedule, you'll see why. I don't have the NFL schedule in front of me right now. I'm not going to put that up. But just so you know, you can go look at the NFL schedule. Most of those teams are going to lose some games, including Kansas City. Kansas City's got Buffalo coming up. And I think they're going to have a hard time with that game. They've also got to play Denver. And while Denver is nothing super special, they have a fantastic defense. And Patty Mahomes loves to throw picks, especially this year. So a lot of things are going to get shaken up here. Don't expect the same teams that are in the same order right now to be there at the end of the year. I don't. And you shouldn't either. The parity in this league this year is unbelievable. And it makes for entertaining television, entertaining sports to watch. So let's be excited about that, and let's cling to the fact that we do have a chance. I mean, we have to win a lot of games. I've been saying that 10-7 would get us a chance to get into the playoffs. Likely would, but I can't say for sure. 11-6 would definitely get us into the playoffs, and 9-8 would give us a chance. But I don't think that's going to be enough. It may be, but I doubt it. So I'm thinking 10-7 has to happen, and that means we can lose one more game. That's it. One more game. So basically, what I would like to see is the Dolphins to adopt this is playoffs right now. Playoffs start on Monday. You got your offense back. You got some key players coming back. Hopefully, a couple on defense as well. And we'll get into this. So let's talk about. Let's get that out of there. Phew. Get out of here. Okay. Now, let's talk about this Rams game. This is the first one of the immaculate win streak that we have to go on in order to make the playoffs and save our season. The Dolphins have been playing well. We have a good chance to win this game. And I want to say a couple things that I've been thinking about. Number one, Puka Nacua punched a guy. I mean, I watched the play. I didn't think it was as egregious as everybody made it out to be. When I heard about it, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to watch this. And then I went and watched it. I was like, that's it? Come on. Give me a break. But regardless, he got ejected, and that might result in a suspension. At this point, I'm not sure if he's going to be playing or not. Pardon me. I think that it does insist on a suspension for fighting. I'm not 100% on that. Don't get me lying to you. But we might very well have an advantageous situation. Now, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, having to guard both those guys on a team, that's difficult. And for our depleted secondary, I think that would be a tall order for our guys to cover them. Can we do it? Yes, I think we can. Especially since I don't have the injury report yet, and I wanted to wait till Friday. I'll put out a short with the injury report so everybody can see that if you don't know what's going on there. But as of right now, I'm expecting Javon Holland to be back, and more importantly, I'm expecting Zach Sealer to be back, and that is going to be so huge if he comes back for Monday night against the Rams. If we have Zach Sealer, we instantly have a little more pressure to put on the quarterback. Now, here's why that's important. We have, for the first time in a few weeks, because who do we have? We had the Colts, we had the Cardinals, and then we had Josh Allen and the Bills. So that's three extremely mobile quarterbacks that took advantage of their mobility in the game with us. Anthony Richardson ran all over us in that fourth quarter. Then Kyler Murray ran all over us in that fourth quarter. And not just ran on us, but Kyler Murray made himself impossible to tackle. We couldn't even get our hands on him. It was unbelievable. And then Josh Allen, in the fourth quarter especially, I mean, he was doing it to us all game. But let's be real. And Bills fans, I'm sure you'll appreciate me saying this, but those two runs in the fourth quarter that were back-to-back, where Josh Allen ran for a first down and then got called a penalty for holding, and then did it again, and then another penalty for holding. Guys, I hate to break it to you, but there was no hold on either one of those plays. Certainly not enough of a hold to call a holding penalty in a situation like that, especially. That was unreal. I mean, the Dolphins got a break there. It didn't end up mattering. The Bills won the game. But there was no hold on those plays. The point is that we were getting beat up by mobile quarterbacks. And for the first time in 4 weeks, we get to play a quarterback that's not incredibly mobile in Matthew Stafford. And that is no slight against Matthew Stafford. Matt Stafford is a surgeon with the football. And if our corners play off these receivers just a little bit too much, just a yard too much, if they break on the receivers' moves just a little too late, it's over. Matthew Stafford's going to put that ball exactly where it needs to go. So that's what you get when you have a veteran quarterback who is a passing general like he is. So it's going to be a tall order to play these Rams with Matthew Stafford playing, but I feel like it's going to be a lot easier for our defensive linemen and our edge rushers to be able to contain Matthew Stafford. If we contain Matthew Stafford and we let him get happy feet just a little bit where he taps that ball and kind of sits there in the pocket for a half a second too long, we're going to get him. Chop Robinson got his first sack against the Bills on Sunday, and I foresee many more coming. Whether people want to admit it or not, Chop Robinson has improved every game. He's getting better and better. Is he making huge steps? No, he's not. But he is getting better. Also, I know Cam Smith got burned a little bit in the Bills game. But if you watch the plays individually, Cam Smith is playing well. He had a few plays where I don't even know how he made the play on the ball. Like I said, he did get burned a few times. But Cam Smith is doing well, and he's improving. And like I said in the beginning of the video, if our players can continue to just improve, get a little bit better every game, this is going to turn into winning football very quickly. So, across the board, just keep getting better. Cam Smith, I see you, bro. I see you getting better. Chop Robinson, I see you getting better. What I would like to see is Mo Kamara get a few snaps. That'd be nice to see him play a little more, I think. But anyway, moving on. As far as offense goes, I think that our offense has what it takes to outscore the Rams. We saw Tyreek Hill finally get a little bit involved last week. We saw Jalen Waddle make a catch and miss me with the whole Jalen Waddle had negative 4 yards for the game. No, not really. He didn't have great stats, but the only reason he had negative 4 yards was because that very last play where they were desperation mode, they had no time on the clock and they were trying to preserve the play. You know, kind of one of those hook and ladder, crazy lateral situations where they were just running around throwing the ball back to the next guy and trying to keep it alive. And Jalen Waddle ran back like 24 yards and then got tackled. So it was initially a pass play, so that counted as a pass. And that's why he had negative 4 yards receiving. So easy with the he had negative 4 yards, he sucks thing, okay? Alright. I got a little sensitive there because Jalen Waddle is one of my favorite players. And my daughter absolutely loves him to death. So, we saw some things happen there. We saw, I do want to say something difficult. Now, I realize that I'm just a little YouTube channel, but Raheem Mostert, I am so sorry for what I'm about to say. Please understand that I love you to death as well. You are one of my favorite players, and I've never forgotten what you've done for this team when they didn't really want to pay much attention to the running back the first couple years of this. You were the man. Last year you had one of the most amazing seasons as a running back I've ever seen a Dolphins player have. And you even set records for touchdowns for a Dolphins running back. So, when I say this, it's difficult, but I think it's time for Raheem Mostert to take the third back position. And I think we need to put Jalen Wright in our second back position. Jalen Wright is a bruiser. He runs with a full head of steam. He loves contact. He reminds me of that that attitude that we saw with Ricky Williams and Jay Ajayi. And then we have Devon Achane. And I think Achane has earned his spot as the number one back. So I think if we switch Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert on the depth chart, it's not. I don't think Raheem Mostert would take it as an incredible insult. I think he knows that he's getting on in age now, and I think he would even do better with slightly less reps and more situational type handoffs when he's in the right situation for his skills. We get in goal line situations. Give it to Raheem. He knows how to find the end zone. He does. So, anyway, I had to say that, and I'm not, like I said, if you disagree, feel free to comment and tell me why. But I really think that Jalen Wright should be the number 2 running back for this team, and Raheem Mostert should be number 3. Looking at all that and talking about all that, those are some things that I kind of noticed. I want to mention that as far as the Rams go, the Rams are the number 18 offense in the NFL. They are also the number 18 defense in the NFL. Both those stats are according to yards. And if you look at according to points, it's pretty much the exact same. So they're number 18. That means they're not in the top half of the league in offense or defense. Now, have they been playing better the last couple games? Yeah, but not that much better. So I think that number 18 offense and number 18 defense is still about there. And we can take advantage of that. Now, here's some things that I came up with for Miami. I did some research today. Now, on offense, we are not last place anymore for points scored for offense. We're not last anymore. We're 31st, and the only team that's worse than us, I think, is the Titans. So, maybe that's not a good stat. But that's a stat, okay? We're 31st in the NFL with points, and 15th in the NFL. 31st in the NFL with points, averaging 15.5 points per game. 15.5. Now, the last couple games we scored 27, and it's getting better, but it's going to take a while to recover. So expect all these offensive stats to go up in ranking as we move on through the season. For yards, we're 20th in the NFL on offense at 324.9 yards. Again, these are all going to go up, especially considering the way we're trending with our offense. Passing, we're 24th in the NFL with 191 yards per game. Same as the other stats, expected to go up. Rushing, this is the impressive part. We are 9th in the NFL with 133.9 yards per game. If you go look, it's been a long time since we've carried that kind of average halfway through the season in an NFL season. A long time for Dolphins. They're rushing incredibly well, and I think that needs to continue for us to have success. We still need to be shooting for about 150 yards per game. We had 149 yards last game, I think, is what it was. I'm counting that as 150. That's 4 games in a row where we've had over 150 yards rushing. Nicely done, running back room. Nicely done, offensive line. Nicely done, Mike McDaniel. Okay? I said I was going to give some flowers out. This is somebody who deserves flowers. Mike McDaniel has called a pretty decent couple games here. Hopefully that continues. And I think the way that does continue is he continues to call running plays. Keep that balance in our offense. Keep bruising and punching people in the face, because I love it when we run between the tackles. Defense. Our defense. Now this is going to be weird because everybody thinks our defense sucks. Our defense sucks. That's terrible. Not really. Not really at all. And furthermore, expecting our defense to be immaculate against the Buffalo Bills is kind of ridiculous. And I may have jumped the gun a little bit last week when I started talking about how bad the defense played. And they did play bad, but I can't really hold that against them. I mean, they did the best they could. They were injured. Our Dolphins had a lot of missing players, and they did the best they could against an incredible offense and an amazing quarterback in Josh Allen. So our defense this year so far, halfway through the season, for yards, we are 7th in the NFL with 303.1 yards per game allowed. 7th. For points, we're 17th in the NFL. at 23.4 points per game. For passing, we are 4th in the NFL, allowing 183.1 yards per game. That is an impressive stat. Oh, but so-and-so got burned last week. Cam Smith kept getting, beat last week. So-and-so left somebody open in the back of the end zone. Yeah, that's true, but we've only allowed 183.1 yards per game. That's pretty good. That's 4th in the NFL. Against the rush, we're 13th with 120 yards per game. I think we need to tone that down a little bit. In the last couple weeks, it has gotten better. And I hope that continues. And if it does, that's going to equal better defense and less scoring. Because if you can shut down the other team's run, then they become one-dimensional, and that's good for everybody, especially all of us Dolphins fans. So, those are our stats, team-wise, for the first half of the season. We are on an upward trend. And I know it's hard to say, well, we have a chance, we can do this, especially given what's been happening. But we have a chance. And we need to show some support for our team here. It's not over till it's over. This is the NFL. They play the games for a reason. Any given Sunday, any team can win. Of course. I can go ahead and give my prediction here for this game. I think that it's going to be a good game. I do think Miami walks away in the fourth quarter of this game. And I think that this is the game where Tua has the next progression of good games. He's had a couple decent games. He had a great game last week. I think this game is where the touchdowns come in. I think that, like I said, I think it'll be a good game. The first 3 quarters, nice and close. But I think Miami walks away. And I think Miami wins this game 34-21. 34-21 is my prediction for this game. 34-21, Miami wins, and I think that'll move us to 3-6 for the season. And this will be the beginning, as Dan Mitchell would say last year. This one is the real greatest story ever told. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the video. I appreciate the time you've taken to listen to this, especially if you made it all the way to the end, listening to little old me talk about my favorite sports team, the Miami Dolphins. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, comment if you like, and I will see you guys next time. Fins up.